Hey, so my name is Matt Duckworth, and this is what good accounting and finance looks like. This is an overview of best practices for accounting and finance departments. And so I wanted to just quickly create a video that will allow somebody who has, if you are a CEO, a manager, a business owner, typically we work with visionary founders, somebody who's aggressively trying to grow. If you're very sales oriented, this is kind of the person that we're typically helping, and they have a very particular set of issues that they bump up against because of their personality, because of the teams that they attract, and because they need really good financials so that they can move ahead quickly. And they're typically frustrated with they can get some bookkeeping done and they can look at what has happened in the past, but they're having trouble looking forward. And so that's what this is all about, is getting you to a position to where you can look forward. And so we'll talk about some of the rhythms of accounting and finance, and why this fits into that grand plan. So first, accounting and finance, it's all about rhythms. So we have annual, quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily rhythms. And those rhythms, like at an annual level, are going to be big things. We're going to do a year-end financial close, deep dive review of everything with the leadership team to understand, okay, what do we want to do more of? What do we want to do less of? Let's start thinking about things like the budget and getting you ready for taxes, because you may have a big tax bill that you're going to need to pay come April, and we want to get ahead of that. So it's a big lesson learned process that just helps us kind of get oriented for the coming year. And then we have a quarterly process. Some smaller companies don't necessarily have to do this, but it's usually a time whenever you're thinking about tax payments and thinking about, okay, we hadn't looked at the credit card and the bank statements in a little while, to just do a deep dive to see if we're, do we have a subscription to Hootsuite and 5 other things that we're no longer using? Let's go ahead and cancel those. That's kind of why we do a quarterly rhythm like that. But the monthly rhythm, this is the thing that is the core of what you're going to be doing to gain financial visibility, forward-looking visibility. And so this is a close of your monthly financial statements, and it's an accrual basis accounting. If you want to know why, there's probably some more content out there that we've produced that we'll talk about that. But you're looking at your financials and seeing how you did versus your budget. You're getting some financial analysis. You're looking at, how's my gross profit margin? Am I pricing things high enough? Do I need to change my pricing? How am I doing on my goals? This is where you're going to have a pretty big budget versus actual conversation with your team. Your team will have, if we've set things up the right way, your team has responsibility for a line item that's on that P&L, or it may be a subset of that P&L. And so we want to hold people accountable to those numbers using the financial review process. It's also where you're going to do things that accelerate the growth of your company. And so you're going to have opportunities to acquire businesses. You're going to have opportunities to invest in growth. Maybe it's a new location. Maybe it's a new product. Maybe it's a special marketing program. And we're going to know if we're above budget. I've got $100,000 or $500,000 or $2 million that I can use to invest in the continued growth of the company, because we know that we're going to be fine at the end of the year in terms of cash. And so I'm going to use this to accelerate the growth. And so whenever you can get to the point where you can confidently put money to work and you have a list of these really high return on investment projects, that's whenever you start to see things grow at an exponential rate. And we're trying to sustain this growth rate as fast as possible without having the wheels fly off the bus, So this CapEx and investment decision process is key as part of this monthly meeting. So then we're going to, so here you go. Here's the reasons why. I kind of already walked you through that. And then you're going to get into weekly and daily rhythms. And this is what most people are familiar with. This is the daily bookkeeping. They're also, one of the things that we want for our CEOs is to have a pulse on everything that's going on with objective numbers. And so having a KPI dashboard, key performance indicator dashboard, that shows you, okay, we're on track for sales targets, or our margins are on track, or we're bumping up at 90% capacity. We need to start thinking ahead about getting some more capacity. Those are the kind of things that we do with that weekly or even daily KPI document. And we're going to forecast some cash flow out too, just to see, okay, in 4 weeks, we're not going to run into a cash crunch. So why stay ahead of cash flow issues and track performance against companies' long-term goals? And so if you're a CEO, you're going to be faced with three temptations, especially if you're visionary. As you grow in your management acumen, you learn a couple of things. Number one is like whenever you disengage, everybody else disengages. And I've seen a lot of CEOs who have delegated all responsibility and all thought and all attention of their financials to somebody else. And so that's one of the, you can see, lack of engagement. Many leaders have a desire to completely delegate their accounting and financial management. That's what I'm talking about. Anytime that happens, you start to see problems in the motivation of your people. It's still something that has to be managed like every other part of your business. It's a process, and you've got to show that you care, because your behavior will be the thing that your people look at the most. If your behavior doesn't match what you're telling them you want, like you're not showing up to meetings on time, you keep rescheduling meetings. I know some people are like, "Oh my gosh, you're talking about me," but it's true. Whenever you demonstrate these little things and you wonder why people are maybe not doing their job, a lot of times it's because of you. And I am guilty of this, by the way. So the being engaged in showing that you care about these numbers and make sure that they're right, that'll go a long way to just keep things moving smoothly for you. Here on the left side, the leader commitment. I went the wrong direction here. If you don't signal, and this goes back to what I just said a minute ago, if you don't signal with your actions that you're excited about the implementation of this stuff, that and how it fits within the bigger picture of your company, and that if you show any kind of lack of commitment to making this right, it also causes people to disengage. It's hard whenever you're so busy. And so what we typically have CEOs do is schedule a time on their calendar. Maybe it's once a month, maybe it's once a week, but it's a dedicated time at a time of day and a day of week that's like, it's a lot easier for you to be able to show up at that point in time. And we try to make it bite-sized too, so that you get in, you get out, you need to know what you need to know, and then you're on to the next thing, just so that it doesn't become a chore. And then mixed job roles is the other thing that we see a lot, especially in smaller companies, is you might have an office manager who's also doing bookkeeping. And so you can read here on the screen, office manager is somebody who's reactive, they're ad hoc, they're people oriented. And so they have all of these daily interruptions. People are coming in and out of the office, right? And they've got to solve those people's problems. The bookkeeper is a person who typically, this is not always, but you want that role to be somebody who's comfortable sitting alone at a computer and crunching numbers and putting things into the system. And you want them to be happy doing that. And so the office manager job is completely the opposite of the bookkeeper. And so many businesses try to fit those into one person. And I have done it. I'll just tell you that. And I've seen it like over and over and over again. It just doesn't work. Like you can't get it to work long term, because bookkeeping is a certain skill set, office management is a certain skill set, and whenever you mix them, you're in for pain. So those are the three temptations that we see people face when they're trying to get financial visibility. They don't know why it's not working. They don't know why they keep banging their head against the wall. Usually it's because they lack the understanding of how their actions and how they are setting up the organization are impacting the work that people are doing. And so I'm going to leave under this video or in the notes somewhere a link to where you can access these. But if you want some more resources from us on how to grow your business, we've published a few things. And these are just to help orient you to the world of finance and accounting and financial performance, like what actually drives financial performance, because that's what we're about here at Rhapsody. And so quality as a small business owner is financial performance toolkit every business needs. I would recommend if you started with anything, the financial performance toolkit every business needs is going to be really helpful. An example of strategic research, this is just one of the things that we've done for our clients who they need to understand, how fast should I go? Is it safe for me to move into this space? We basically researched all the failures in an industry to be able to tell a client, okay, here's the lessons learned going back 100 years, so that the company is a pretty large organization. The company knows what to avoid, right? And that saves a lot of money and frustration whenever you can communicate that to the team, because people aren't trying to chase ideas that are going to lead you astray. And then some example financial training. So that's that. And then we do have, I want to make a special offer to you. And this is a financial performance audit. So this grades your finance and accounting department on an objective 1 to 5 scale in 10 key areas of performance that we've developed in over a decade of working with high performance CEOs, companies that have grown very, very fast. And we've just tried to distill down the things that separate the good from the great and so forth. So it includes, you're going to get a presentation. It's a detailed presentation. We're going to go through a financial performance improvement plan. And we're going to map out, here are the things that you need to do with your accounting and finance department in specific areas that will drive higher return on your investment in that accounting department or that finance department, those people. And so, again, like I said, the types of folks that will purchase this are typically, it's a company that's led by a visionary, sales-oriented CEO. They got about $2.5 million in revenue. They lack it. One of the things that we see a lot is that they lack a clear org chart. So they can't clearly say, John's job description is to get all of our invoicing done by each day. And, we want to close financials by the 15th of the month. Some of those things that get really specific about job roles. And they're frustrated by a lack of financial visibility and foresight. And so it typically ranges from $2,500 to $5,000. So it's not a lot of money. You're going to get, most of the time, you're going to find $25,000 or more in value in this. If you're over this revenue threshold, for smaller companies, it's a lot smaller. I will say this, though, if you're getting sucked into your accounting duties because of fires or turnover, the opportunity cost in your time is really high. And so addressing those things with a good plan is one of the reasons why people will buy this, because they could spend a few hours selling something and make more than what our fee is. So if you're interested in that, feel free to contact me at matt@rhapsody.net or call 501-270-0636. That's my cell phone. So feel free to hit me up, and hopefully this was valuable for you.